Full time. Hello, my name is Brady Rhodes, and I'm an instructor for the Minding the Gap Masterclass. I'm here to give you just a short preview of the framework for availability. It's a key piece of the course, and we want you to have a sense of what it is you're going to be involved in to see if it's valuable for you. That's our commitment to you, is that you take this 6-week course, and by the end of it, you have learned some new processes, some new ideas, some new concepts that's really going to make a difference in your work. Whether you're a teacher, a facilitator, you're a leader, a manager at work, whatever it is you're doing that has you work with a group of people, the framework for availability and the masterclass is going to help you get there. It's going to help you build greater results, higher performance with your team, greater achievement. You're going to find your group in better communication with each other, in greater alignment. You're going to find them being able to be more productive with problem solving and collaborative. And it's all because of this framework for availability, this notion of being available. Where did we come up with this? Well, just really quickly, for the last 20 years, we've been working all over the world. We haven't gone around thinking like, hey, let's create a great training. We've actually been doing this with people in schools and companies and businesses and community organizations all around the world. And during that time, we know that we've dealt with and faced the same challenge that you or anybody that's working with people comes up against. And that's the idea that people keep things at a distance. That's our natural human inclination often, especially in times when things are new or unfamiliar, or you're uncertain about the environment that you're going into. It's very easy for us to stay removed. And so we've developed this notion and this framework for availability. Let's take a look at what we mean by being available. Just think about the word for yourself. When you sense you're not available, or when people are not available, think about what that could mean. It may mean that they're closed off or isolated, maybe a little bit stuck, maybe more argumentative or prone to debate things, disconnected from the people and the work at hand. Maybe things are a little bit more stagnant, or they're distant, or unaware of what's going on and more shut down, not very creative or willing to do the work of the group. Those things keep people from being productive, keep people from being in a relationship, keep people from being communicative. But now let's take a look at what you could do if you create an environment where people are available. They'd be more proactive, be more flexible and visionary, be able to see out into the future, different possibilities, and be more present with themselves and with others, be more aware of their teammates and aware of themselves, aware of the work at hand, maybe be more respectful and just simply be more engaged, more open and considering of different paths and different solutions to things. The whole value of availability is people give themselves a little bit more space to be with you and to be with others and the work at hand. How can we create that? Certainly that seems more appealing than when you're not available, but remember, we know that it's our natural human inclination to keep ourselves at a distance. So how can we help people get closer and be more available? That's where the framework comes in. And the framework for availability is this generative model. You see it here in front of you. It looks like a fan because that's what it does. It actually stimulates itself and creates what's here in the center, this relational environment that allows people to get closer to each other, closer to themselves, closer to the work at hand. And that's where you really get the powerful results. And here's what it is. It starts with you. We're actually going to do the work with you in the first beginning of the course because we know that as a teacher, as an educator, a manager, a team leader, a facilitator, you're working with people and you know that you've got barriers to communication that come up naturally for you. This is true for everyone. We have barriers that are interpersonal or maybe perceptual or maybe emotional, or perhaps there's just this general distance between you and others. Maybe there's power structures involved that set up a barrier to communication. Our natural inclination as human beings is to try and develop skill sets for that. Like, I'm going to problem solve this. I'm going to read some books. I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to bash those barriers down. But what the framework for availability does is it has you, instead of focusing solely on skill sets, we ask you to work on your orientation and your disposition, a little bit of a broader sense that's going to cause your availability and then cause other people's availability more easily. It's just a few things, but what we find is that when we change that focus from skill sets to orientation and disposition, those barriers to communication really diminish. They may not entirely disappear, but they're going to diminish and lessen their impact. You're not going to have to fight through them anymore because you're going to be more available. You're going to find yourself drawn into that relational space where you're going to find yourself more open, more accessible, more able to be considering. And the thing is it's going to cause the same for others. So the framework helps others, whoever they are, if they're students, if they're staff and employees, if they're mentees, if they're team members, they have the same thought. I'm going to keep myself at a distance, especially if this is a new thing. You can imagine the barriers to communication that take place when people keep themselves at a distance. Let's think about a group of students in an algebra class, some of whom do not like algebra, and a teacher, maybe you, are designing your classroom climate to find a way to get them to be there with you and do the work of doing algebra, but they're keeping themselves at a distance, and they're probably pretty good at it. I'm going to be distracted. I'm going to be resentful. I'm not going to participate. But if you can do some things that have them build their availability, you start to replace that keeping things at a distance with a different thought. One more like, I'm interested, I'm intrigued, I'm open, I'm considerate, I'm more available. This would be true for a staff team that you're working with. If you're a manager or a supervisor and you're trying to use the framework for availability to help a team come together on a new project, maybe you've got the same issues that you're dealing with, that people are keeping it at a distance. Maybe they have histories together. Maybe they have different expectations than you do. Maybe they don't have the same kind of shared passion and purpose that you do. If you spend your time working on the framework for availability, you're going to find the same diminishing of these barriers. And you'll find that both the students, if you're a teacher, or your team members, or whoever it is that you're working with, get drawn into that relational environment. And this is where the framework really gets into action and really comes into play. You can see that the orange space where we represent availability, that's really the gap. That's where people keep themselves at a distance. And what we found is that people skip over developing availability. And so the framework's pieces, the first 10, that's these little circles right around here, or these areas here where you're doing some work beforehand with yourself or with others, they're all designed to help you move into that space of relational environment. Even these contextual ideas that are seen out here in the outside, these are rich contexts that if you start just operating from these as an orientation, it's going to make a significant difference in how you work with people to really produce results. And when you do that, what you find is that you're increasing participation, you're increasing learning, you're increasing people's ability to collaborate with each other. And all of those things taken together, that's what gets you the high performance that you're looking for. That's what gets you the increased achievement. You're going to find groups communicating better. You're going to see them having greater ownership, greater shared purpose. You're going to find them having greater self-agency and engagement in whatever space it is that you're using, that you're creating with them. All of these things are designed as a simple response. I want to emphasize that the dynamics of people working together is complex, but we've taken this quote from Oliver Wendell Holmes as sort of the truing device for us. Have we created a simple response to complexity? We think we have. The framework for availability does get you on the other side of complexity in a simple way. You're not telling people to be more available. You're doing things and preparing yourself in a way that causes your own availability and stimulates availability of others. And you'll find people are more easily able to be together in that relational space, more easily able to get the work done, more easily able to learn and collaborate with each other. That's what we're aiming for here with you. We're really interested in you coming to the class. We hope we see you in it. Please feel free to ask us any questions prior to enrolling, and we'll help you out. Thanks and take care. Have a great day.